There once was a mouse that scurried around inside of a cave. One day the mouse went outside of the cave and began exploring the world. All of a sudden, the mouse came upon a narrow ledge protruding out of a wall. On the other side of the narrow ledge was food and water, but it was also a very long drop down onto hard rocks below. The mouse looked around and saw no other way across except to try the dangerous tightrope walk. The mouse began to run across the ledge. Now, a large bird swooped down behind the mouse and shouted, "Hey, hey there, little mouse. It's pretty dangerous to be walking across that thin ledge. If you lose your balance, you'll tumble down to those rocks below and get crushed." The mouse replied, "It's quite all right, kind sir. Do not fret for me. I've already made up my mind to cross over to the other side. And besides, if I should fall, it's only a short distance, and I'd only be slightly hurt." The bird said, "Young friend, that may be so, but I have seen many creatures attempt this crossing, only to tumble down and die. I wish for your sake that you don't become another dead body on the rocks below." The mouse continued running and soon made it to the opposite end of the ledge. Looking back, the mouse said, "Thank you kindly for your concern, kind sir, but I have already reached my destination. And besides, it was not as difficult as you would have thought." The bird flew up to the mouse and asked, "Are you really not afraid of falling?" The mouse replied, "Why should I be afraid? If I do fall, I will simply use my tail as a parachute to slow my descent down to the ground." Then the bird said something that surprised the mouse. "That's very silly of you, young mouse, but you remind me of myself. Long ago, I too used to boast about how well I could fly. I thought that I was invincible and nothing could defeat me. One day I was flying around and got caught in a strong windstorm. I tried my best to keep my composure, but the stronger the wind became, the more frightened I grew. I even considered cutting off my wings to slow my descent down to the ground. However, before I did such a foolish thing, I met a man who gave me shelter until the storm had passed. And since then, I've been much more careful about boasting." Then the mouse said, "Well said, kind sir. There is much truth in your words. Indeed, sometimes we think ourselves to be invincible, only to find out otherwise when we least expect it." Then the bird said, "I thank you for your kind words. I believe you are wise beyond your years. So, young mouse, what will you do now that you've successfully crossed the narrow ledge?" The mouse replied, "I haven't the foggiest idea. I guess I'll just continue to explore the world and see what wonders I can find." Then the bird said, "You know, there's a beautiful field just up ahead where lots of mice live. They would be overjoyed to welcome you in." The mouse replied, "Many thanks for your kind invitation. But I'm sure my family and friends would love to hear all about my adventures. And what better way to inspire their imagination than by having actually crossed the dangerous ledge?" Then the bird said, I suppose you have a point there. Well, wherever you go, young mouse, I hope you'll remember our conversation today." "Of course," said the mouse. Then the two parted ways. And thus the story of the mouse who cut off his tail to slow his descent down to the ground began. Once upon a time, there was a young lion named Leo, who ruled over a pride of lions in a lush African savanna. Unlike his father, Leo was not fierce or brave. In fact, Leo was somewhat of a scaredy cat. His own mother couldn't understand why he didn't want to eat meat. "What kind of lion are you if you won't eat meat?" she asked. Leo replied, "Mother, I don't want to be like father. I don't want to hunt or kill other animals." One day, Leo left his pride to explore the savanna. He came across a river and wanted to drink from it, but it was full of crocodiles. Leo was too afraid to drink from that river, so he decided to travel further until he found a watering hole to quench his thirst. Just then, a wise old turtle poked his head out of the bushes and said, Well, if it isn't a scaredy cat lion." Startled, Leo replied, "Who said I was a scaredy cat? I am not a scaredy cat." The turtle said, "Oh, really? Then why are you afraid to drink from the river?" Leo replied, "Because it's full of crocodiles." The turtle said, "That's ridiculous. Crocodiles don't bite if you don't provoke them." Then Leo said, "How do you know so much about crocodiles?" The turtle replied, "Because I am one." Leo cried out in surprise, but quickly composed himself and said, "I'm sorry, I thought you were a turtle." The turtle smiled and said, "Some people call me a turtle, others call me a tortoise, but I prefer to think of myself as a terrapin." Then the two fell silent as they walked towards the river together. When they got closer to the river, Leo took a deep breath and prepared to face his fear. He dipped his head into the water and drank as much as he could. Feeling refreshed, he looked at the turtle and said, "Thank you for helping me overcome my fear." The turtle replied, "Don't mention it. After all, it was your bravery that allowed you to overcome your fears, not mine." Then Leo said, "I want to be brave like you." The turtle said, "Bravery isn't something you're born with, young lion. It's something you learn over time." Leo nodded his head and thanked the turtle once again before bounding away. From that day on, Leo became the most courageous lion in all the savannah. He would leap over rivers without hesitation and fight off any animal that threatened his pride. He even learned to hunt and kill other animals, which made him the perfect leader for his pride. As the years went by, Leo grew old, and one day he passed on his title of leader to his son, teaching him everything he knew about being a brave and powerful lion. And so the legacy of the cowardly lion continued on. The end.